So you're a Diamond Jungler watching this Diamond Jungle coaching and you're wondering how you can play Vi despite the recent nerfs. Well, it's not about Vi, it's about jungling. And most importantly, that this guy right here is a smurf. So, pay close attention because when you are Diamond, it is the hardest rank to leave. 99% of people who get Diamond stay Diamond forever. And even though we have had some inflationary seasons recently, overall by the end of the season when people get their rewards and so on, that percentage is still, for Master Plus, a lot lower than people think. Now, you want to become the top 0.3%, 0.2%, whatever it is, junglers from Master Plus. This guy is going to do things to this jungler, and we're going to question it from all champions' perspectives. So, Vi is going to do red Krugs into Ramses, pretty standard stuff. The Talon, on the other hand, a Smurf, Master Plus, most likely, goes and does Raptors red Krugs. Why? This gives him the option to gank top lane. Oh, a Karma versus a Fiora. I could gank that. Vi, in the meantime, looks at this and says, right, I've got to kill mid lane. Karma top lane is against my Fiora, and I have an Alistar Ashe bot lane versus a Bard Kai'Sa. What Talon can do, and of course Fiddlesticks and all other champions can do well. They can't do that. That's a little cheat coding. But most of us can look at this and say, hey, do we want to gank this or not? And here's the thing, right? We're also going to be coaching this Master Tier jungler because obviously they don't play very, perfect or good all the time either. You can go ahead and look at the Ogurn video on my main channel, showing you the challenger mindset about those decision makings. But look at this. This is an absolutely free, perfect gank that we could go for here to help our Karma. We could kill this Fiora. It's beautiful. That's why I explained it. That's why we like to do Raptors, Red Krugs. No leash. Every lane gets to go fisting, and we can rotate to this ASAP. Instead, he's rotating to the bottom side, which is fine. Like, that's his prerogative. But I would have preferred to see us here killing the Fiora, getting free cash monies, and because Vi starts down here, when most likely will just full clear up, as we see, we can just go back to base and defend the side. And if you look at the MVP S Plus 1v9 jungle video on the main channel, that's about Kayn doing exactly that strategy. It's the best at the moment, and Vi can do it as well. Ha ha ha. So whatever jungle you're playing, most importantly, you might have a game plan in terms of your first clears. You definitely might. But if you observe lane states and you see things that you can rotate to, please do. And as you see the Fiora here, you see the Vi finishing off her blue doing a 5 camper. Why? Because she's listening to this advice. And this is good from the Vi. This is a good foundational principle. The Karma's going to greed. The Fiora's already greeting, right? With her 6 CS. Now help her shove big time here. The Talon, and this is the biggest thing that you're going to hear from me in this video in terms of like this mentality. It's the selfish Master Yi mentality, right? Glad he leaves the scuttle to go for the gank. Also good, right? Oh wait, we shouldn't be doing the scuttle. We should just go ahead and kill this Kai'Sa. Nice boink combo from the Alistar Mukau. Milking those indeed. We'll go back in here. There we go. Do we need to ignite? Not at all. Could have just used the top lane, but hey, what do I know? And now, of course, this is a great... okay, sure, cool. Yeah, I suppose. I was like, okay, what's going on in the top lane? Did we not fully shove for deny? But this is good because now we can actually go and repeat gank this, right? You see this? We can go repeat gank this with a bit of time. You see, look at the pings already from the Fiora saying, okay, let's go. This is a repeat gank I've set up for you with this. That's why I paused. Now, and for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Virkayu, founder of Virkayu.gg. I've helped tens of thousands of junglers reach their ranked goals from gold all the way up to challenger, and I make this content to help you climb with jungle 10 times faster. If you want help implementing this information into your own game, I have a free jungle improvement resource and a dedicated program, including jungle courses, weekly classes, private videos seen nowhere else, a full backlog of coaching VODs, and more, and that is linked directly below. Let it push back. Now, the Talon here, selfish gameplay. Selfish gameplay. We don't necessarily need to do this because if there was no wards beforehand, there's not going to be wards now because she just back. You don't need to waste your Q because now we have to wait a long time for this Q to be up again. I gotta wait 10 seconds, right? Instead of just going in on this and basically being shilling, here we go, boom. Like right now, you're in her face with a Q, right? From this bush because we know it wouldn't be warded because we've been paying attention to the movements of the top laners. This is a Vi taking her game to the next level. Mistake 1. Meanwhile, Talon has full clear down, cleaned up 1 kill on the bottom side, and has reset for Serrated Dog and is coming to the top side again. And I say, but wait a second, I thought the Vi was going to get destroyed. Yes, because the Talon is doing the Master Yi, Cenarius, Challenger, Giga 80% rule. If I can rotate to something with an 80% chance of success, I will do that. If not, I will just make sure I'm getting golden experience. That's the lesson. If you cannot rotate to things, and you don't think there's a high probability of success, just keep farming. Just keep moving the whole time, and don't stop. And that's what the Talon's going to be doing. That's how you get leads. Now, this was well set up by the Vi. Everything so far is okay, but the Talon's already on the map for a second quadrant take. You got the ping from the Vi. The tracking is off the mark. You see the blue question mark there. Way too late for that one. And now the Talon, instead of full sequencing down, blindly, like a lot of Heck remains would do, says, okay, look, 5 minute 30 wave is upcoming. That's a level 6 spike. This means I really should probably try and kill this Kale before that moment, especially as she has no sums. Because he would be doing all of these things we're saying while paying attention to his laner sums. And Vi's don't do that, especially diamond stock ones. And that's not an insult. They will definitely be able to go in. And of course, you know, that's just badly executed from the LeBlanc's point of view. Her Chains of Destiny should have hit. The Ethereal Chain should have hit. We know Vi's going to be in the bottom side doing these Krugs. Karma's already rotating over from the top side because there's a huge freeze going on. And this is the thing, right? The Vi with the Fiora did an amazing job having that push back in to get that repeat gank. Now she's frozen it. The Karma's screwed. She can't stay anywhere. I read her name is Hepatitis. But if she did stay top lane, she would get Hepatitis. So she's roaming now to say, fine, if I'm going to be frozen on, let's make a numbers advantage scenario. And the Talon here might be thinking, well, look, you're trolling me, right? But no, she isn't. This is honestly the best play a supportive top laner can do when you're getting Giga frozen on by a Fiora. And again, I haven't seen a Fiora. Well, no, I have, unfortunately. My friend has not seen a Fiora in years because his duo never lets her through. The Talon, as you're seeing, has a much better flow to this whole thing. The Vi, at this particular stage, should not have died here. You just don't die here. No one dies here. You know this is happening, right? When you repeat gank this so late, so slow, you know that the Talon's going to be able to cut you off. So basically, it's great to go in here, but as soon as you see the Goon Squad, just extract yourself from the situation, go take something else that you have, but it's also why I don't like the clear the Vi did. The red side quadrant into a mid lane gank fisting into the top side equals you can capitalize on this earlier, which means you've got blue fallback, your sequencing's better. Because she was going for the full clear and just reacted to a thing that happened, which is again, good. The problem is now she has to fall back to Gromp, go back to the top lane, she gets all of this, but her tempo is completely off to the Talon. And a Master Plus jungler, typically high elo junglers, when you watch them smurf on things like Talon, it's just about efficiency of pathing. And they really play selfishly. And that's the mentality you kind of got to have, you know, when you're playing in this elo. And unless you're playing a Nunu, a Maokai, an Ivern, and things like that, you got to play with this whole, I'm the carry, right? And I'm sorry you're being frozen by the Vi, but there's nothing to do with me. It's honestly your own fault for chasing into a wave. Like, the Comet didn't have to do that, right? But she did. So, Talon cuts here, doesn't full clear down, cuts for the gank, then decides to move in here because Karma's there. If Karma wasn't there, he would make the same play. Get it and get out. That's all he's looking to do. Now Karma's rotating again. Talon takes the dragon. Vi's in a precarious situation. Just go take the Grump. Don't force anything. Just take the Grump and relax. Take the Grump. Look at this. Go back to base. Now let's see if we can get bot lane. Talon is just all the control at this particular stage with the CS. Vi is holding versus Karma. Just leave her. Your Fiora is hard winning. Absolutely, your Fiora is really hard winning. So as a Vi here, the problem is when you have a top laner freezing and the enemy top laner roaming, the important thing for you is just to rotate to the fights that you can actually impact. Like this one. Okay. Now it's a little bit more tough because we're a little late to it. Talon just hit 6. Okay. And ensure that the Fiora is unimpeded. And this is where the issue comes in. You're looking at this now and you're trying to add it up. How do you really deal with a roaming Karma to this level? Firstly, if you just gave all of this shit up, you go and take this and you go and take this because your sequencing is good. Now you can spend some time doing some counter jungling, not counter jungling, but deep vision warding over here. You can look to gank this from the top side, fine. You're going to see the Karma, okay, oh no. Now they're expecting you to go down here because it's all warded up because they already killed you there. So what you can now do is you just loop back around and take this whole red side. It's not efficient because it's weird, right? The Karma is rotating, moving, roaming because of you. You're the Vi, you set this up. The Karma's doing the good thing. The Talon, in the meantime, is using this leverage to say, cool, I can just outfarm you. Get objectives, get kills, 4-0-1. The Vi right now should be on his red side, taking all of that red side, shadowing that Fiora, making sure she gets maximum plates, even cheesing here if she didn't need to reset, which unfortunately she does, but we should be able to get a free Herald. The Talon, however, okay, is using whatever numbers advantages he can find on the map to his advantage. That's the most important thing. Okay, Karma's roaming, guess I'll go deep. Karma's not roaming, take what I can and then leave. You're playing with whatever's happening, not what should happen. You understand? And that's a crucial thing here. So, Talon now is looking to do his red side quadrant, but sees the Kale here. She has ultimate up. Not the best pathing, but we do know the Karma now has re-pushed this in a little bit. And as you see, the Vi is doing this, and that's why he knows not to do his camps first. Because the Karma's down 2 levels, helped him a lot, so we're going to go reinvest some of that cash money into the top lane here while Vi's farming. She's going to rotate level 6, but we have the Cannon Wave. Karma, do your stuff, do your stuff, do your stuff. Use the cannon wave. There we go. She goes back in for some particular reason. Fiora's chugging potions and waiting. Karma tether. Oof, forces the flash, which is good for us. Ignite goes through. Will she survive? Okay, that's a little close. Don't always advocate for the on-the-limit 2v2 mechanically, but hey, we're all going to be in those situations. Play it as best you can. Play the cooldowns as best you can and know when to pull the plug. But overall, the Talon just had a good fluidity to it. However, what you're seeing is a little bit of over-aggression, okay? A few missed cues for potential, killings of the Fiora, which should have happened. And that's why this guy, his win rate isn't amazing. It's okay, but it's not, like, super-duper, right? The Vi, on the other hand, is now 0-3-4, and I think the most important thing is in these kinds of games is just taking the blows, taking the hits. Karma's rotating to my bottom side quadrant. Not much I can do, right? It's warded up, I know it's warded up, I can see it. I'm just gonna go take my top side quadrant. Maybe I can get Gridlet from the top side. Karma's there again. Okay, fine. At least I got deep vision of the red side. I know Talon's fighting my team on the bottom side. I can't do anything about that, but I can take his Raptors, red, Krugs, and then hopefully Fiora, hey, can we stay? And maybe cheese the Karma and just kill her as she comes back to the top lane, which we could have, because we would have been 6. Now we can fall back to the Herald, and in this particular case, the Talon wouldn't be able to rotate to this because the Karma would be dead, LeBlanc would be shoved in because of your gank, and you'd have pride for this. And then it would come down to the 1v1 assessment and, deciding, do we actually want to coin flip this or not and fight, whatever, like all the Herald decisions we made. Because we didn't do that, and because our sequencing wasn't great from the get-go, our route was wrong from the get-go, we have Krugs that are available on the bottom side. We have lost the Herald. Now we're floating to the top side with no Dragon available. There was a bottom Scuttle that we just decided not to, we just went for Wolves. She moved from bottom lane to top side just for Wolves. Even though we know the Talon took the Herald. And we know when we killed him top lane, he hadn't taken his red. So if he's taking Herald, he's going to have his red side camps up, so I can take the Scuttle and the blue side. There it is. And sometimes it's about saying, look, this sucks, Karma's roaming, but let me take these things. Let me try this. And you just loop back around and say, fine, I'll take these things now, because I got the timers, because I checked earlier. Here, this 2v2, okay, fine, it happens. Yeah, we die, but we still get some assists, and the Fiora gets really strong. Thumbs up, that's amazing. But now the Talon's going to go for the Herald, because he wants to snowball quickly, right? Smurfed him. Master Blast, let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay. I see the timer that he takes it, that big announcement. Let me just go take all of this shit here, and maybe I can do something bot lane once my ult is up again. Right? Am I tracking this? Can we maybe do something here while Talon is known to be on the top side? And that's when you get your comeback mechanic, right? You get to actually do the punch instead of taking it, because you've been paying attention, patiently taking what you can, minimizing deaths. Now we do some counter jungling. Now we kill in the bottom lane, instead of roaming to the top side, doing a wolf camp scanning, and then taking a grump and basing, which does absolutely nothing. Talon, on the other hand, says, cool, I get my free stuff. Now, there's a dragon spawning. I'm watching my bot lane. Bard kills everybody. There's a one-shot Bard. Can I rotate to him and kill him before he bases? Probably not. Although, if he wants to die, then I'm happy to assist in this regard, which is obviously stupid. Like, the Bard shouldn't be here. We do have Ignite as well. There we go. Just smite rake, smite W. We're good. And in the meantime, Vi sees that, and she actually goes to the mid lane here, queues up the wall just to kill the LeBlanc. Now we just have to pick the right passive, obviously. Mind Games flash from the LeBlanc on the bottom side. Good job, Kale. Split your focus if you don't know. And the dragon is spawning. Here, the Talon shows up. We are now down. We're going to get a full trade, full chunk, but the Cow Flash has the wall. Hex flashes the wall, and Talon can just kill us. And that's it right there. 6,000 gold on the Talon, 4,000 gold on the Vi. The Vi invested into top lane. Cool. Talon invested into himself. Although I do think this is the play he should have made, because it would have offset the Vi's ability to impact top lane, and he could have had the exact same game that he's had so far. Like, nothing else would have changed. That is the thing. That's important for him to note, but the guy just focused on himself and the sequencing, and I think that's the biggest thing. The sequencing was fluid, it was smooth, it was quick, and you don't have to be a Talon. You don't need your E, right? You don't need Talon E to go across the map. Anyone can do it. I do it on Zyra jungle. I still do it on Volley jungle. Volley's fisting and 2v2ing and 1v1ing is abysmal at the moment, and his movement speed on Q is tragic, but the W means I can't actually do a few things, but I can still sequence, can still farm, can do it on Ornn jungle. And if I've been doing it on those champions, I'm doing it on Kai'Sa jungle. If I can do it on those champions, right, obviously significantly worse than anything meta. I know that, right? This is my job. But I know categorically a Vi or any sort of meta jungler can do it as well. Now we're down 2 levels already, because her risk assessment is completely off. She's tilted. She's 0-4-5. She's like, I need to rotate all of these things. Look at this. You know Talon's in the zone, right? You know Blanc's on the map and Kayle isn't. So from your perspective, once a dragon's taken, and you know that the Talon did Herald into his red side into the kill on the Bard, now he went to the dragon into his blue side, the guy's in the vicinity. The fact that there's no Kayle means don't go for it. Sequence up, take all your camps, do some counter jungling again, do a 3-quadrant, chill. And again, on the Agurin video, you saw exactly that. The cards were a little reversed. It was a Jarvan on the top side here. The Karthus goes for the Herald into the blue side quadrant, and Agurin just says thank you, 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 kill ADC, thank you. 3 quadrants in his control, depending on how you want to show 3. Europeans will understand. Yeah, the Vi just doesn't have that same sense of control. It's that she goes for these terrible assessments and dies. And that's the most important thing. When you're against a Smurf who's going to do this and play fluidly, selfishly, and smoothly, make sure you are just controlling as much of your own jungle as possible, and when you cannot contest things, don't. Don't. Catch up in these moments while he goes and takes Dragon and Herald. But if a guy is literally... If you're literally snowballing a Fiora that hard, right, like she's at 6.4 thousand gold, the Talon's at 6.8. The Talon has offset the entire Fiora. And as a Talon, that's our goal. And I've spoken about this a lot. Hey, my top lane is inting. Okay? Well, I just realized the Fiora's name, pretty much typical for Fiora main, I would think. You know, we've had these scenarios lately in these videos where there's a Fiora that's this fed, right? She dies here, fortunately. But jungler ends up going to try and kill the Fiora, right? The Karma says, help me, and the Talon shows up, eventually the jungler shows up, and you both died at the Fiora. This Talon understood that there's no touching that Fiora right now. I need to do everything else to get ahead of gold, equal or ahead in experience, and then I can go kill her. Fortunately, we had some roams that got those kills for us, and the LeBlanc has taken this turret, which is great. You know, that's why you like taking that turret sometimes from mid lane, because people don't freeze. They can't freeze mid, so they kind of just try and shove it up a little bit. You get those free gangs. And that's when taking mid is great. I don't always like it, but in this particular case, it's good. Mechanics, drag, counter jungling, you see the difference. 107 to 72 CS. Vi. She's just so off kilter. And there's no coming back from this when you're against a Talon or a Hecarim or even a Jarvan or anything like that, where they just have such an insane fluidity to their mid game. They just don't have that. They just don't slow down. They speed up, they ramp up. And if you're the Vi or any sort of jungler against a Smurf, they're going to be playing champions that do this. And if you make these mistakes early, you're never going to recover. Never going to recover. You can recover and win the game, no doubt, but you're not going to recover one-on-one. Unless you really start hitting some giga split pushing. Now we're just trapping a little bit too much. The Vi is just taking camps that she can do. See, you want to be fed enough where you're shadowing the Fiora here. Spoke about this in yesterday's coaching. You know this is going on, so don't even bother. You're now on this side, you're shadowing. You're both whacking this. You and the Fiora are whacking this because you're also level 10, 11, because you've kept up nicely. Not because of any sort of false sense of catch-up experience. You're actually reading the map here. You're still in control. Talon's ahead in gold, experience, atomization. But you're in control of the game. That's the difference. You understand? And the example of this, again, Agurin video, Gragas vs. Jarvan. Gragas was 4-0-0. Agurin was like 0-2-2 or 1-2-2, but he was in control of the game. And that's why he won it. Important to note those differences. Kayle on the bottom side, we also just need her to scale a little bit. But instead of anything useful, we're just wandering the maps, wandering around. Now we've been seen because they have an Ashe. Now we're going to greed a little bit because we don't pay attention to the fact that the Talon got his showing on the bottom side and left. I mean, she should not have stayed, right? Once, she's just too slow with it. If she had shown up and shouted properly and really shouted properly with the right cadence without all these deaths, they'd just go out together. Talon, you watch him and see him on the bottom side, then you see him leave, you know he's taking your red side. Don't hang around in his red side and die by yourself. Crucial. Now Talon can easily deny by taking a Herald. So all of the advantages that Talon are getting, he's laying the foundation, but the Vi's giving them to him. And that's a big difference. That's what you're noticing. So yes, it's difficult to read sometimes, and yes, you have to absorb the fact that a Smurf jungler is going to have this control over you, especially at Talon and things like this, but as you can see, there's no reason why we couldn't offset a lot of his advantages just with better pathing, better game planning, or just accepting that a better play, and I wrote this in one of my weekly emails actually, how to beat someone who's better than you. Just let them do their thing. You're not going to out-macro this guy. You're not going to out-path this guy. You're not going to out-PvP finesse this guy. His champion's probably better than yours for the goals of Smurfdom. So, do your game, find the win con, play around it, and get as much as you can without feeding or dying. You're going to be down in golden experience, but be within touching distance, because within touching distance, all it takes is 1 turret, 2 turrets, 1 shot down, boom, boom, Baron. Now we're talking, right? Now you can actually play the game. So the Vi's missed a lot of those things. And that's really the lesson here. And you're noticing how the guy keeps sequencing, right? This is the big thing. She's sequencing in the wrong direction, she's skipping camp, she's not looking for, like there's a Croc camp by itself, obviously. Talon is already now at 3 items almost. Vi's just taking the scraps on the table that she can get. This guy's already 2 levels up. He's pushing this one. Here we go. Push the wave. Push the wave. Pyriomanda at Karma top lane. Flash from the Kale. Ult is burned, which means she's basically guaranteed dead. Vi in the meantime is doing red. Fiora splitting this. Push this with Kai'Sa, man. Come on, come on, come on. Show some agency. Show some macro. Be alive. You know? Now we're taking red. Why are we shadowing this direction? Everyone's here. Now she's going back to hold the Herald, that we don't need to. We could be shoving this a little bit. Yeah, LeBlanc is going to rotate on us, but if we're with the Kai'Sa, we have ult, we have flash, we have smite, we have Q. We can kill her, especially with the Kai'Sa. Ghost everything up. Let them do this. You're not stopping it. It's going to happen. Fiora's got the split pressure here. They have to defend. So you can easily force this. Really hard. And sure, you might lose a tier 2, but who cares? You at least get this tier 1. You buy time for this. Now you can base, right? So the Vi has had options macro-wise, but does the good job. But we don't use it. We don't use it. She's too afraid, right? Mentally, she's lost, and that's the problem. Mentally, she's lost. And once you mentally lose, that's where you don't want to be. Ever, always, never. There you go, Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's just like, all right, just, can he die, please? Yes, yes, he can. Okay, blue team. Again, we've got this Giga Fed Fiora, and you are the Vi who has lost the jungle matchup because of your attentiveness top lane and because you didn't do all those other things. But now we're catching up. Now we're catching up to the point where we can kind of be a little bit useful, but not in that case. We need to help her win. And so that's where the macro shadowing comes in. Talon makes a double pick. They'll go for a Baron, most likely. He wants to go do that. Ashe is like, no, I better kill the Kale instead. Now Talon's going to be annoyed, but that's fine. Take this, give it to the LeBlanc. Take this, take everything. Selfish jungling. There you go. Fiora's over here. He did a good job. I mean, like the Vi made the Fiora. No, we all understand that. But you cannot make the Fiora at level 4 and then say it ruined my whole game. It didn't. Subsequent decisions did. So now, Talon takes all of this top side. Vi is like, okay, I guess I've got nothing to do, but maybe fight this down 3 levels. We do have bottom inhib pressure, but it's too soon to go for this Baron, right? So effectively, we are in a position where we need to just ult and kill the Talon. Once we do that, we can actually maybe do something, but it's tough because they have a LeBlanc. She's level 14, Kale's level 12. The tether does hit. Karma does hit the empowered Q as well. We have the cow showing up. Fiora's going to split on the top side. They see that, so they're going to go all in here. And this is where you just don't want to be in this situation at all. It's horrible. Horrible. I mean, it's horrible for Fiora, but at the same time, from top laner's perspective, you have to understand, and I did say this, it is horrible when the Karma roams like that, but it's the right decision. Fiora is now super fed and splitting, right? And they will have to send people back, but you are useless as Vi. Now Fiora's going to oversplit. Talon should collapse in on her. They need to kill her. She missed that. Now she's forced to flash. There we go. That's what red team needed. Yeah, if you're 1, 8, and 7, and I have been in these games, I have made these mistakes. And all I told my Fiora was, it was a Fiora too, I said, go split. Ugh. Go split, I'll steal the Baron. And I was on jungle. I remember, I was like 1, 8, and 7. It was just equally as terrible a game. And she was splitting on the bottom side, I was red team, and I stole the Baron, and she won off the Baron split. It's still one of the funniest games I've ever had. The replay is locked away somewhere. If I could ever figure it out, I would get it again, but it was just so funny. I was like, I'm stealing the Baron. And Fiora's down here, she says, okay. Because everyone on the team, including me, terrible game. Astro shit game. And she just pushed here, we just stopped the ports, and Nexus. Amazing. It's fun to win these games when you don't deserve to win them, but from Vi's case, is pushing it just a little bit, I think, because, I mean, like, the Blanc is a level ahead of Fiora, the Talon's the same level as Fiora, so, you know, nothing's really gone well this game at all for blue team other than Fiora's freeze. And Karma did that perfect thing. Hey, I'm a low econ supportive top lane. I don't care about laning. I'll just leave. If you're Maokai top lane, you can do the same as well. Like, you're 4 levels down on the mid laner. You know, like, that's the problem. That's the problem. And a lot of it was just basic jungle practices. It wasn't the Karma rotating, right? Like, the Karma rotating there really sucks. Not always observed. You got to track your vision as best you can, but, like, you're not going to see it necessarily. So, maybe you died there once. But again, if you just accept, okay, good, let him have that. I'm just going to Shadow Fiora the whole game. Cheese the Karma every time she comes back to lane. Control the topside quadrant from the Talon so that no one can actually touch the Fiora. You'd be decently equal. And you'd elevate the game state earlier. You'd guarantee yourself at least a Herald or 2. And while you probably lose 2 to 3 dragons, you would have a strong enough Fiora that you could, and strong enough you as Vi, that you could have done something here. But for me, the biggest thing was, when the Talon took this and fell back to this after dying here, right? We didn't go into this and gank this and shove this. We didn't go the other way. Fiora's good, she's juiced. Talon's topside, finally some breathing space. Can I get my bottom lane ahead, myself ahead, and offset some of his Herald play there? That would have been the move, right? That's the move that gets you and your bot lane back in the game. But she didn't. And he did. And now, the Fiora, despite being as fed as she is down a level to this Giga Talon, and she didn't even have a lead anymore. And that's the thing, right? We looked at yesterday's Emerald coaching, trusting our top laner to do the good work. And in this one, top lane isn't doing the good work, but the Talon just kept farming, just kept moving, didn't stop going. Played selfishly, made great PvP plays, got the lead, and now he can do that stuff. That's the lesson. Because again, even if he dies here, if he gets a kill or 2, he comes out ahead, right? So, there you go. Not as straightforward as it might have seemed because of the Karma rooms, but again, it's all about the reads. Again, it's all about your CS and your experience. The Talon played very, very well. However, could have done the same thing while not letting the Fiora give a hint of comeback, right? The reason the Fiora is that fed is because of the Talon not reacting early. If he did, this game would have been over 20 minutes. Fiora would be nothing, and no one would be anything except for him. But either way, a nice high-paced Master Tier / Diamond game for you. Virkayu.gg for all your good stuff, and as always, I'll see you all in the next one.